this modern digital world, having an audience is what makes you stand out. Our everyday experience of reality has shifted online. The digital world has become our primary reality, and the future belongs to the people who can effectively communicate their big idea. I know there's a lot of people out there who have big creative dreams, but they're holding themselves back in one key way. They're not building the skill of writing in public. In this video, I want to talk about the reasons why you should start sharing your writing online today. The first reason you should start sharing your writing is that we have an unprecedented number of ways that you can practice in public. You can make YouTube videos, which involve writing a script. You can write articles on Substack. You can use your social media to market your small business. And what I think is the most valuable is you can practice the skill of discovering your authentic voice. The thing is, discovering your authentic voice doesn't happen when you spend all day journaling. I know I'm a big journaler and I've spent years documenting my life in private Google Docs, but ultimately, when it came to really stepping outside of my comfort zone and sharing my writing online in my Substack and on my YouTube videos, I started to learn what really matters to me and what it is I want to share with the world. The thing is, there's just no replacement for the level of self-awareness you can gain when you overcome your emotional obstacles and start sharing your creativity online. If you've been feeling stuck in a creative freeze, that makes a lot of sense. Human beings have evolved to fear the rejection of their peers. It's part of our survival instinct. But by the same token, it's also one of the ways that we can keep ourselves isolated. And we're currently living through a period of intense loneliness. Some people are even calling this time a loneliness epidemic. Writing is one of the most effective ways that you can overcome your emotional obstacles and this fear of rejection and find your community. The second reason I think you should start sharing your work online is exactly that. You can start to call in your people, the people that you connect with over the same topics, the same interests, even the same worldviews. When you follow that little voice inside you that's telling you to put your creativity out into the world, you start to connect with other people who are interested in your work. And sometimes you get to even collaborate with them, which is super fun. In the same way that you're overcoming that emotional obstacle of fear of rejection, sharing your work and calling in your people is one of the fastest ways to uncover your authentic self. What are the things that when you watch videos or read articles or listen to podcasts, you really feel that deep sense of connection? Or maybe your soul comes alive because you feel so energized learning about this topic. That's a great place to start when it comes to sharing your own work. Talk about the things that you're already interested in and find other like-minded people. For most of my life, my hobbies were things that I did mostly alone, like reading a book or working on my writing. But once I started sharing my writing online and creating things like these YouTube videos, I started to connect with other people over those interests. And I found that there's actually a whole world out there of people who are pursuing their creative dreams by writing online. But I also learned that if you want to connect with those people, you have to be a creator too. You can't just passively consume their content. That's called being a fan, not a collaborator. The third reason you should think about sharing your writing online is that online writing is the new resume. I really believe the future belongs to people who can effectively communicate their ideas, and most ideas are being communicated in the online space. But as you probably well know from your English class in high school, writing is not easy. Maybe you're intimidated by getting started because you worry that you don't have any good ideas. One of the things I've learned after years of writing is that writing begets more writing. When you sit down with your daily writing practice, ideas start to flow through you. It's kind of this incredible big magic, as Elizabeth Gilbert calls it in her book. When you actually start writing, you'll start to see inspiration everywhere. You'll start to make connections between ideas and things you read or see or listen to. It all starts to come together. So many people think that they need to have a specific niche before they can get started, or they need to have some sort of expertise in the field. While it can be really helpful to write about things that you already know about, writing is also a great way to learn about things that you want to learn more about. I know I have learned a ton from writing the scripts for my YouTube videos about how to be a creator. It's also taught me a lot about how to trust myself and how to believe in my own dreams. And the fourth and final reason that you should consider sharing your writing online is that if you build your audience through your writing, you can scale up to do anything that you dream of. I look at people like Katie Sturino of Megababe or Chelsea Fagan of The Financial Diet. They started off talking about something that was interesting to them, that they had a lot of passion for, that they had a background in, and then they branched out to talk about topics underneath the sun. And both of those creators eventually went on to write fiction, so you don't even have to limit yourself into one category. Writing is the superpower skill of the 21st century. Whether you want to be a creator and you'll need your writing skills to write powerful scripts, or you want to be a writer and you want to write articles, essays, get them published, or even perhaps write a book. Or maybe you have a dream of having a small business and you'll need to be an effective writer in order to market your services or sell your products. Being a good writer helps you know yourself better, and that helps with all of your relationships. So how do you get started? I always think about this analogy that I read in the book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Morgan talks about how he used to work for a valet car service, and when men would pull up in fancy sports cars, he wouldn't look at the guy and think, wow, that guy's really cool. His thought was always, wow, I'd look really cool if I were driving that car. So one of the best ways to get started is to remember that when people are watching your videos or reading your articles, a lot of the time they're not going to be thinking about you. They're thinking about what they would be like in that situation. They're thinking, how would I be as a YouTuber? How would I be as a writer? What would it look like to see my name on that byline? How would I feel if I had 10 million subscribers? The second way you can get started with writing online is to commit to a period of time for exploration. I made about 40 YouTube videos before I decided what I wanted my focus to be on. And that doesn't mean that I'm not also going to change my mind at some future date. I just learned over a couple of years of making YouTube videos that I like to talk about writing, storytelling, and emotions. I was actually given this same advice before I started my channel, which was to make 50 videos before I even decided what the theme of my channel was going to be. And at the time, that sounded ridiculous. I couldn't imagine making so many videos without a clear plan. But it turns out that that was actually fantastic advice, because you'll react to your audience. You'll react to what was enjoyable for you. You'll be inspired, or perhaps things in your life might even change that mean you want to start making content about a completely different topic. That's totally okay. In fact, I encourage it. And finally, I recommend starting off by using some guiding frameworks for your writing. If you want to check out my guiding frameworks, then you can click on the link in the description below and you can get my free download of some helpful writing advice and some frameworks to get you started. Changing your mindset from I need to have a certain outcome from this experience into I'm writing to uncover my true self is going to help you to stay motivated over the long term. So my last piece of advice is to make the content that you wish existed in the world. That's exactly what I'm doing here, and I'm glad you're here to join me. Thanks for watching.